Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. We had another filing that just came through not too long ago. This is in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively universe, as I like to call it. But this is in regards to the Publicist lawsuit. So Stephanie Jones has filed a motion to dismiss Jennifer Abel's third-party complaint seeking indemnification. So as you guys know, last week she had filed motions to dismiss Wayfair and Jennifer Abel's counterclaims. So we're not going to read this word for word tonight. I'm just going to skim through some of it with you guys. So this is not going to be a long stream. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a little bit of a different look right now. And that's because this is what I was about to wear to go to bed. I was just finishing up some editing and I was like, okay, that's it. I can call it a night now. Nah, just kidding. Anyways, so I was not about to let you see my hair the way that it looked. So I put this hat on. And I guess just think of me as Lauren, but if Lauren were your big boned little brother, that's probably what I look like right now. So, hey guys, thanks for joining. Like I said, this is not going to be a super long one. I'm going to schedule another one for tomorrow morning. It'll be like 8 or 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So yeah. July baby 19. Hers were technically due today, or like now it's Tuesday, but Monday. And so they filed this like right at the edge of Monday to Tuesday. So this was actually the due date for hers. She had just filed the other ones early, and then she did this one last. So let's skim through this. We're not gonna like I said, read through it word for word, but we'll do that tomorrow. Okay. Not going over the stable content stuff. So I do want to read the beginning pages because these are always the most dramatic of Stephanie Jones' work. And I guess it's her lawyer's writing technically, but it definitely has her sort of flair on it from what I've learned. Okay. Jennifer Abel went rogue. She ruthlessly pursued her own career advancement by leading an aggressive smear campaign and pinning it on her employer, JonesWorks, while contemporaneously seeking to take down her employer by spearheading a Business Insider hit piece against the company and its CEO, Stephanie Jones, stealing confidential documents, poaching clients, and seeking to ruin Jones' decades-built reputation, all before the dust had time to settle. Her duplicitous plan nearly succeeded until JonesWorks caught Abel red-handed, executing her treasonous plan by stealing confidential company files on her way out the door. JonesWorks promptly terminated her for her theft, disloyalty, and replete contractual violations, now having been unmasked as the puppeteer behind this smear campaign. All right, man. Puppeteer. Speaking of puppeteer, what was that case they kept citing in those arguments about the motion for extension last week? It was like Fuzzy Puppets versus Fallout Boy or something like that. Furry puppets, maybe. Anyways, is she the furry, fuzzy puppeteer? Is that what we're saying here? Okay. Wonder what she did to Fallout Boy. Or was it vice versa? I didn't want to think about that. Okay. And facing lawsuits that seek to hold her accountable for her own actions she intentionally hid from JonesWorks and engaged in well outside the purview of her employment. Abel brazenly seeks indemnification from the employer she betrayed and sought to ruin. Abel's audacious ploy to evade responsibility fails as a matter of law for multiple reasons and should be rejected out of hand. So this is where I'm going to start skimming, guys. But the opening of that, I don't know, it just sounded like a speech that the writers of SpongeBob would have written about a villain in the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy series. Yes, I had an edible earlier. Okay, no one asked. Anyways. Hey, Christina, what's going on? Let me just, add some water. I'm getting a little cotton mouth. It is so dramatic, Jack. Is this psycho hose beast still filing? Me or her? Answer is yes to both. All right. Anyways, we're going to skim through some of this. Abel admits that starting weeks before she left JonesWorks, she was communicating with co-conspirator Melissa Nathan about their duplicitous scheme for Abel to leave JonesWorks, poach its clients, and profit at JonesWorks' expense. And we've actually seen these texts before in the original complaint filed by Stephanie Jones. Most, if not all of these are the same, but I am going to go over them with you. This one is from Melissa and Nathan to Jennifer Abel. It says, I know, and once you're gone, we will be on accounts together and make really good money and be happy. And then another one that says, let's just keep it steering that way, and you take this fucking client and never talk to her again, I swear to God. And we also saw some of these texts, again, not if not all, some in the other motions to dismiss. All right, here's one from Jen to Melissa. It says, we're going to war. I feel so alive. Ha 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 ha. And now I remember that one was definitely in the other filing because I almost like strained my vocal cords trying to do an evil laugh. All right. She forgot the word undetectable in the undetectable smear campaign. From Poland. Hi, Poland. What time is it where I'm at? It's 1:30 in the morning. I was about to go to bed. So that's why we're just skimming. I'm not going to read the whole thing tonight. All right. Abel admits she intended to shake down Jonesworks on her way out. It says, by the way, I'm having my offboarding this morning with our chief of staff. A joke, because Steph won't face me, and you should see the list I made of things to bring up. Holding them hostage. It's wild. Abel admits that in parallel with the actions for which she now seeks indemnification, she and Nathan were encouraging Wayfair and Baldoni to breach their contract. Okay. Okay, that you use this text on the last page, Stephanie. You're going to need to do better than this. This is why you don't cram until midnight the day it's due. We all learned that in like 9th grade. Okay. Okay, Melissa and Nathan says to Jennifer Abel, I'm just going to step out of line before I go to bed and tell you Jen is amazing. She's so loyal. She loves you. And so that's what she sent to Justin. I remember this now. So yeah, I guess they were talking to Justin and Wayfair. Apparently, this is the, what they're saying is going on here. They're saying that they were talking to him about how she's leaving and you need to go with her or whatever. Abel admits that throughout this period, she facilitated and regularly communicated with a Business Insider reporter, including through at least 4 phone calls, one more than 27 minutes long, and numerous text messages with the reporter, and text messages coordinating the reporter's outreach to others to actively undermine Jones's reputation and Jonesworks business through a hit piece about Jones and Jonesworks. I haven't seen anything to indicate that she actually participated in the forming of that kill story or whatever they're calling it here. I will say here, Melissa Nathan says to Jennifer Abel, Stephanie, are you aware? And they're obviously being, like making fun of the situation. Stephanie, are you aware there's a kill story dropping this week on you? And if you hadn't have blown us up, we would not have been in such a bad place. So she thinks that that text is sort of damning as like, look, Jen obviously, had something to do with this story. But to me, it just reads as, listen, they don't want to be they're going to be the bearer of bad news to this lady who's already a little nutty in their experience. And they have to break this news to her that there's a kill story going on. And she knows about it because she did talk to a reporter. That doesn't necessarily mean that she smeared her in any way. So this is not doing what you think it's doing, in my opinion. So this filing just validates that Jonesworks was an awful place to work. Yeah. Another Arby's commercial. I did not consent to that. Guys, I wish I got to choose the ads that play on my stream, but I don't. Okay. Hey, Ricardo, what's going on? Okay. And here's where they're talking about Justin, and I hate these texts, but we do have to read them. So they're talking about Justin and Justin working with Blake, I guess. Let's see. Supposedly in the interest of its then client, Baldoni, she was simultaneously trashing him behind his back and crediting the very rumors she was working to suppress. First of all, these are not the rumors in these first couple of texts, at least. But also, when you mix the personal phone and the work phone, and your employer also knows that, you're going to have your personal text and stuff on there, I feel like it's kind of, in my opinion, disingenuous for her to look at text between her and a friend who they've redacted the person here. And I think somebody told me that the redacted name is Stephanie Jones in one of these texts. So I'm not even sure if it's actually her or not. But that was just somebody told me that. So I'm going to have to look into it in the other filings and see if I can find a version of these texts that don't have the redaction. Anyways, here's Jen Abel saying about Justin to somebody, it's so cringy, his face. Blake was probably so grossed out too. Yeah, and filed a cease and desist. And that's a conversation between Jen. Jen's the green ones here. And then the blue one is the redacted person, possibly Stephanie Jones. All right. Here's one from Jen that says, I can't stand him. He's so pompous. A men's retreat during release. Is he crazy? And being off the grid for the summer because he's just so overworked. Like, calm down. You're not that important and nobody gives a shit how hard your life is. And that's why I got like pretty annoyed with her. And I was like, why the hell? Like, if you're in the middle of this hellish experience with Stephanie Jones, why would you write this on your work phone? Even if it is, attached to your personal number, you're working with a crazy lady. Obviously, look at how she blew all this shit up. I just feel like you got to be more careful than that. If you know that somebody's volatile and prone to do something explosive and terrible, yeah. I don't know. And I know people will get mad and they'll be like, well, you shouldn't be so hard on her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. I'm not trying to, I hope she wins her case. I wish her well, but also I'm annoyed by that. Okay. He may fire us because even if we put together an amazing campaign, it's not going to change the fact that he's so unlikable and unrealistic as a leading man. There's no chemistry with him and Blake. You and I both know that she will be resistant to promote this movie, and press will be reluctant to do anything with Justin without Blake being a part of it. So those are my thoughts. Okay. Abel also admits during this time Nathan was also not safe from Abel's trash talk, labeling her as an expletive. And I know what that expletive is. Do you guys know what the expletive is? If you do, write it in the chat. And she worked with her to harm and steal from Jones and Jones Works. Let's see. This is somebody saying to Jen, Melissa talks out of both sides of her mouth. And then that she says, you think, which is like, she didn't even say that. She just kind of passively agreed there. Here's a worse one. It says she's a piece of shit. That's more direct. I'll be honest. I honestly used to like her, and now I see her for how she really is. Guys, this talks about how I talked about my friends in my middle school diary. I change my tune every week. All right. And Abel admits that when Jonesworks finally discovered her subterfuge, self-serving thievery and duplicity and limited her access to its electronic systems, she boasted about evading the company's efforts to stop her theft. Abel answer to Jones, paragraph 98. So this is, again, where I was like, this does not look good for you. But Jen says, yeah, pretty much I have my way around that shit because I have like hundreds of different emails for each domain that I own, so she can suck it. I mean, it's funny to me. It's probably not funny in the context of this, though. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people haven't seen the text in the Publicist suits. So, but yeah, these have been used in the previous complaints filed by Jones or responses. So, let's see. Abel's claim that she's entitled to indemnification from the employer she was actively betraying is diabolically illogical, legally deficient, and must be dismissed. Diabolically illogical is something I want to start saying in my day-to-day life. No, I'm going to come up with something more creative than that. Let's see. Mad props to whoever came up with that phrase, though. I want to put that on a shirt. Diabolically illogical. I want to put that on a shirt. Okay. It's actually sad because it shows you have people who really want to hate on women. How many times have we seen this text, guys? And they're talking about the background. And here we're going to get into the kind of legal arguments, which is we're going to go over all of this tomorrow morning, like I said, because it's almost 2 a.m. here right now. Abel runs an unsanctioned shadow campaign to smear Lively and attack and steal from Jonesworks. So now it's a shadow campaign. So all of a sudden, she's Danny fucking Phantom. My age is showing, but so is Stephanie Jones. All right. I'm just going to skim through a lot of this. Why are you screaming about the kill story? You could just lowercase, please. I still haven't read that, by the way. I have it bookmarked, But I need to find one of those sites where I can like get around the paywall because like I cannot pay for fucking whatever website it was. I really do think it's like it's not good, okay, but it's hilarious that this text message saying she can suck it is mentioned so many times in here, and also the one where she was like saying don't be a cunt or whatever. Like I'm annoyed with her, but at the same time I'm like I kind of like you. I'm not impressed, but at the same time I really am. I don't know, man. Okay. This is the stuff we'll go over in the morning, pretty much. Abel is not entitled to common law indemnification. Right. Abel is not entitled to indemnification for actions taken when she went rogue and acted in service of her personal interests in direct defiance of Jonesworks' instructions. JT says, I hate to say this, but using the company phone and texting this much smack, she's about as smart as a box of hair. I know, man. And when I say that, people get mad and they're like, you shouldn't be so hard on her. Stephanie Jones was the one who did the thing wrong here. And I was like, okay, but it's clear from these text messages that she knew that Stephanie Jones was a mentally unstable, crazy person who was about to burn everything to the ground. So, like, maybe we proceed with some more caution and some more tact in that situation just to cover your ass. I'm not even saying she didn't deserve the things that Jen Abel said about her, because she absolutely did, in my opinion. But you got to be more careful than that, dude. Like it's like, no, it's not your fault that this psycho went and took this shit off the phone and then improperly divulged that information to somebody who then decided to burn everyone else's life to the ground. No, that's not Jen Abel's fault at all. However, I do wish we would protect ourselves better sometimes. And then, look, I'm not perfect. I've said shit in my work email that I shouldn't have said. Not recently, but, there's always tomorrow, I guess. All right. You're a much better reader than I am. That's almost certainly not true. Okay, Missy. All right. Hey, Chrissy, how's it going? Abel was acting in pursuit of her own interests, not Jonesworks. And like I said, we'll go over all of this in the morning on a more thorough basis. Jonesworks could not have foreseen that its trusted senior employee would betray it. Now that's, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Certainly they had an inkling, because it seems like there was some shit going on there towards the end. Like it feels like they definitely had an idea of what was going on there. Then again, you can always pretend not to have common sense if you want to try to game the system that way. It's just don't expect anyone to think you're anything but fucking stupid if you do that. So, pick your battle. All right. Here, Abel's intentional disregard of Jonesworks' instructions rendered her conduct unforeseeable and a significant departure from her normal duties, and thus beyond the scope of her employment. Indeed, Abel's admissions and allegations make clear that Jonesworks could not have possibly foreseen that she was engaging in conduct that it expressly told her not to engage in, and that she actively excluded Jonesworks from, including the following. Abel recommended Wayfarer hire Nathan, even though Jonesworks expressly instructed otherwise. Okay, to that point, I just want to say that Stephanie Jones was also butting her nose in where she was expressly instructed by her client not to. So it's like, even if that is a fair claim, I have a hard time reading this and not getting stuck on how hypocritical it is. Like some of the behavior and stuff like that. And I know that's like not how it works. You don't get just to just like bring in whatever out of your back pocket when you're like reading these legal filings. Like that's not something that's going to come up here. But at the same time, it's hard not to have that in the back of my mind and then read this and be like, yo, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, if you leave all that out and you just read these papers, then it might make sense. But you can't do that. There's just so much more to the story that's already known at this point. All right. When Jones attempted to insert herself into the mix of Abel's work for Wayfarer, Abel objected. Well, the client had already objected. Like, are you a nutbag? Like, These people are paying you a whole butt ton of money, and I know because it's all out there now how much money they were supposed to be paying you, and you want to go and fuck that up by taking your talents where they were expressly prohibited. Okay? This isn't the OnlyFans. It is not your channel. You have to do what your client asks. Jones went rogue. Yeah, that's the story, I guess. All right. Frozen out from the Wayfair account and barred from participating, JonesWorks could not have possibly foreseen that Abel was executing the opposite agenda to the one endorsed by JonesWorks. Dude, again, why is she not concerned with what her client wants? It's like, why don't they want to play with me? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You know, that's what I'm getting from this. All right. That was a direct quote from my childhood memories, by the way. All right. Let's skim over that. Abel's misconduct far exceeds a mere error in judgment. All right, and we'll go over all that tomorrow. Conclusion for the foregoing. Wait, no, let's read this last paragraph, actually. Abel's underhanded smear campaign and her associated plan to pillage and tear down Jones. God, she's not taking your virginity. What the fuck? JonesWorks, on her way out, place her actions squarely outside any reasonable scope of possible indemnification, and her claim for indemnification should be firmly and soundly dismissed. For the foregoing reasons, the court should dismiss Abel's third-party complaint. All right. Like I said, I'm going to read that in a more thorough way in the morning. I just wanted to skim over it tonight since it came out right before I went to bed. But it's time for me to sleep now, so I'm going to go take a nap, and I'll be back before work tomorrow morning to read through this. I'll go ahead and schedule the stream, so if you click on my channel under the live stream tab, it should pop up there in a few minutes. If you want to hit the notification bell on that, it'll tell you when I'm back on. It'll probably be 8:30, I want to say, tomorrow morning. So, all right, thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.